Well, again, thank you for joining us. I want to say a very good morning to Isaac Asante. You live in Suntreso, Kumasi, and thank you for always watching us. And also to a very good friend of mine, not Salifu Combat of the Boku Presbyterian Hospital. Good morning to you as well. But also in Cape Coast, I have Nana Binyin Bredson, and thank you for always tuning in to the show. Mama, good morning.
Good morning. When you said Suntreso, I remember South Suntreso. That's very famous, and still, I can't ever forget that because of Uncle Ibo.
Ah, that's where he grew up, he says. He's always on South Suntreso.
Yeah. Yep. Is it midweek already? Is it just me or the week is just running?
I think the year is running, and I'm worried because of the, this register, and it looks like we don't have enough time to do many related issues. So
but they've already given you the dates.
Oh yeah, sure.
April
We'll go and register.
So
I mean, the electoral commission, they have been mandated by the constitution to do what they have to do. If they says after the fight they're still going ahead, we'll go and register. We have no choice.
After which fight?
But yeah, now there's the media will call it brouhaha. After the brouhaha, we'll still go.
Well, we hope you're all doing well.
We'll still go. There are some names difficult to mention. One of such names, or some of those group of names.
If it's a dedication, go ahead and do it.
Yeah. For some, I have some Volta names here, and this one is from Juliana Edem Ankuche. You live in Vapo. Good morning to you. And you're dedicating this to Mr. Jim Edison Akpokli.
As in, she's dedicating our show.
No, this one. Because Jim Edison Akpokli adored his new son just yesterday. Fresh baby, Mark Bright Wilson Akpokli.
All right, congratulations to you guys.
But Charlie, enjoy your time. And this weekend,
let's do the newspapers.
Find some grass cutter for me.
Let's start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Graphic. Today, 5th of February, Wednesday, 2020, in the year of our Lord. Front page. Government comments. Yeah.
Government you used to do that. Mention the time. Mention the date.
Yeah, I like that.
You're changing.
Am I?
Charlie.
For good?
Old age is not good though.
Is this old age? Seriously? All right, let's do the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's run through the headlines. Government commits to develop more entrepreneurial minds. Also, 2.5 million Ghana cedis voted against coronavirus. 257 EC offices linked through fiber cables. Missing Galamsey excavated. 6 busted. Story says the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service has arrested 6 persons, including the suspended Central Regional Vice Chair of the New Patriotic Party, Horace Eko Ewusi, over missing excavators and other equipment seized by operatives of Operation Vanguard. The 6 suspects who were arrested at Abelinkwe here in Accra on Monday have all been placed in police custody, assisting the police in investigations. It goes on to tell us more about the suspects arrested, but also comes with a picture of Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. It was he who reported this issue to the police, and then, the arrest. But we will be discussing this issue a bit more extensively on AM Talk this morning, because we have a former Minister, Lands Natural Resources, joining us. So it will be a very interesting conversation. We also have Osei, yes, who is Member of Parliament for Kiapem South. He's a Deputy Local Government Minister. So we're discussing EC. We're discussing EC extensively in terms of where we are now. We're talking about Airbus as well. But we will look at some issues that perhaps we haven't touched on. People are giving names and identity to intermediary 1 and 5, but what does it really mean if it comes to the special prosecutor inviting any of the names that you've heard before? Can we prosecute them? Can they just appear and answer questions? How about the special prosecutor himself, who some people say he was in government within the period that's been stated? Is he the same person who's going to be investigating this matter? Is there a matter of conflict of interest here? Wait a minute, we'll discuss that on AM Talk. In the center spread of the paper, though, another issue that will be on our table: hundreds protest against new voters register. To what end? Will they ever have their way, or they will continue to have their say and showcase and march and be in red and carry placards with various inscriptions, or there could be more to this? And then Ghana charts roadmap to manage plastic wastes, also in the center spread of the paper. Governments commit to develop more entrepreneurial minds. Full story in the center spread. On the back page, though, Ghana National Fire Service to train 20,000 volunteer firefighters. Provident Insurance donates 100,000 Ghana cedis to Accra ACA. That's Accra Academy. Following the 2 consecutive fire outbreaks which destroyed personal belongings of students and the school as well. To the Finder, front page of the Finder, 64.9% back new voters register. That's a survey by Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. Many asking if there's a blow to those who are opposed to a new register. What does it mean? President Akufo-Addo sold for 17 megawatt solar plants costing 22.8 million euros in Kalio and Laura. NDC refuses to sign final roadmap to ending political vigilantism. That's also on our table this morning. Bridge policy making and implementation gap in public sector. That's a call by Bafo Ewa. That's the Minister of Employment. I hope I'm not wrong. Yep, that's Employment Minister and Labor Relations, Ignatius Bafo Ewa. He's called for the bridging of the policy making and policy implementation gap in public sector to ensure greater productivity. Like, he's making the call on who? Because he's a sector minister, right? Policy begins from
yeah, but they are supposed to ensure the coordination. So I believe this call is just part of
when like people who sit in places where they make decisions also call and then I get a bit confused. But I think there's more to this than just what I have said, because I haven't read the entire story. Let's do the Ghanaian Times news. Don't be Eugene Ahin this morning. The Ghanaian Times newspaper front page. President cuts sword for construction of 17 megawatt solar projects at Kalio. That story in the Finder, also in the Times, obviously because the president is on a tour now. Missing Galamsey excavators. Police nab 6 suspects charged with stealing. Government commits 2.5 million Ghana cedis to fight coronavirus. Hundreds demo over new voters register. So that's like hundreds demonstrate. Yesterday they presented a petition to the Jubilee House and also to the Electoral Commission. Center spread. Ghana launches digital inclusion statement tomorrow. Back page of the paper. Wafa set to upset Kotoko today. Did you hear that, Roland?
It's a match. It hasn't been played yet. This headline is misleading.
No, it's not misleading.
Who is the sports editor of the Ghanaian Times? This headline is misleading. Wafa said, "Are you a supporter?" This is biased.
So if
headline.
If it was Hearts, if it was Wafa said to upset Hearts,
that's
today,
appropriate.
Who is more biased?
That's appropriate. The match hasn't been played. You're right in this one.
Also, Hearts.
It's not fair.
Hearts Kotoko get kind draws in FA Cup. We'll bring you a lot more sports. Right after the newspaper.
It's a very biased review.
My last paper,
though,
before a very biased Roland Walker comes through, just so you know, he's colored. The Daily Statesman newspaper, more Ghanaians want new voters register. University of Ghana survey reveals. JB Danqua's power, an example of political sacrifice, extolled in Parliament. Ghana secures highest ever bond in Africa. $3 billion raised from 5 times oversubscribed Eurobond. Also open up for probe. Majority leader charges Mahama over Airbus bribery scandal. That's it for me, Roland Walker.
Yeah, let me go straight away and do the custodian.
Hey, I missed this one. Oh.
Okay, which one? The custodian?
Back page of the statement. Ex-Ghana coach Kwesi Appiah reveals shocking Sule Muntari insults in Lesotho.
In his 400-page book.
He didn't yell, but let's see.
You should save us the headache.
That's how the words. The former Inter Milan player rained the insults on him in the dressing room in the presence of everyone after Ghana won the match 2-0. He used so he says Sule Muntari insulted him using unprintable words in the presence of all the Black Stars players after the controversial midfielder refused to be substituted during a 2014 World Cup qualifier. Muntari crudely refused to sit on the bench after refusing to be substituted for 5 minutes before preparing to verbally assault his coach in the dressing room in the full glare of the players. Leaders don't have to yell. That's where it's all coming from. I called for Emmanuel Ajimambedu to substitute Sule Muntari. Sule around the 60th minute. For 5 minutes, Sule ignored my call and would not come off. When he finally did, he angrily headed straight for the dressing room instead of joining the rest of the team on the bench. We finished the game 2-0, and I was congratulating the team in the locker room. Sule was still Koto. Sule was still upset and made a comment that featured inappropriate words. As much as he wanted to play, I did not feature him for the next 3 games. When there is no clear line of respect, it is very likely that the players will not take their coach seriously. Even though I can be very friendly with my players, there's a line of respect that my players are not allowed to cross. Okay. All right.
Who wrote that?
Don't yell.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Newspapers, we can yell. So we have the custodian. Audu, good morning to you. Audu Mahama is the managing news editor of the custodian. The custodian is on your screen.
I thought that was like intermediary 4 or something.
I think he's more like intermediary. Intermediary 2. It's not been mentioned, right? It's intermediary 2. We have intermediary 5 and 6, Charlie. So you have the front page of the custodian. So £3 billion Airbus bribery scandal raffles NDC.
It's supposed to be euro.
That's pounds.
The deal
they did the conversion.
They did the conversion.
As spin doctors invade FM stations for redemption. We also do have other stories on the front page of the custodian. Ekufuado start 17 megawatt solar plant in Kalio, Laura. Meanwhile, down there we have the Ghana Education Service closing down the Bupe Senior High School after Inferno. We brought you that story on Tuesday. And then we have Kwabre East Member of Parliament, MPP executives rooting for Francisca. Right, it's a race. And meanwhile, you can stay to get up to the minute news on the primary of the MPP right here on JoyNews. Now let's go to the new publisher. It has on the front page, protesters curse the Electoral Commission over new voters register. Took place yesterday. Komladum reported extensively on this subject. We also have... I didn't
hear about the curse though.
Yeah, it was quite amusing. Up there we have Court Clear Zoom Lion of Auditor General's reports. NDC snobs, we're talking the new publisher, has on the front page. NDC snobs anti-vigilantism code says, there's a story, there's a page. Okay, protesters curse EC. We also do have government allocates $2.5 million to fight coronavirus. Now let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. The Daily Guide newspaper has on the front page, Mahama silent on €5 billion Airbus bribe scandal. NDC refuses to sign vigilante code. Ghanaians, though, warns new register. Very controversial. This one also coming, we're told that there was a 2019 research by the University of Ghana indicating the one Ghanaians won the new voters register. JB Dankwa remembered in Parliament. Now, the back page is paused, but let's look at the Today newspaper. The Today newspaper has on the front page another Red Demo hit Electoral Commission. On the side, Kwabre East constituency update. Prospective MP aspirant warned. That's an attached picture of the current member of parliament for Kwabre East. And she's in the person of Francisca Oting Mensah. We do know there's ongoing related issues about how sitting MPs want to be protected by the party, which I think is fine. It's sad. One particular person, George Lowe, for example, just went one term, you know, one of those things. Danger.
That.
You know, sometimes you have someone.
But he didn't go again. He rather stood for an executive position in the party in the region, the Volta region. Yeah, but the fact that George Lowe didn't stay longer in Parliament.
Yeah, it's a very sad one. Yeah. He's a very good MP in the first term that he was.
Well, we are not in his constituency.
Yeah, sure. We're not. We haven't mentioned.
We're talking about his contributions to the Parliament and to the discourse, and to the nation as a whole.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Danger looms in the Wutu. Laurie, we're talking residents drinking contaminated water, according to the story. As filed by the Today newspaper. Meanwhile, on the back page of the Today's Post, Karim Zito talks tough again, and he's a coach of Dreams FC. One of the directors of Dreams FC is the current GFA president. We also do have resigning the coach of Accra Great Olympics, Oli Konso, Oli Rosalinda. Olidade, the coach has resigned. Quite interesting though. Let's look at the Go Street business. That's quite interesting, Mama V, because it says coronavirus. This is the update, and government short-term revenue under pressure. Because we also do know that if you look at reports, you monitor the Washington Post, CNN, Bloomberg, they're talking about how first quarter economic performance result of China could be deeply affected.
And indeed Asia.
Yeah, generally. And even some companies in the US could feel like Apple and a number of them, because, you know, they do.
Apple, for instance, has shut its stores.
Exactly. And more so, they do most of their manufacturing in China.
Almost everything we have now is made in
because
China.
labor is cheap. You have access to raw materials, and you know, so it's the dimension of how this has affected the world globally.
Exactly.
And those are some, perhaps, if we have to look at the discussion beyond health, that's what we have to be looking at. Now, also on the front page of the Go Street business, we have new business registrations rise in 2019. Trend continues in January 2020. I have to go and register a new business. Once I've registered, I've been failing. But Charlie, when you fail, it means that's another time for you to succeed.
Oh, I think I listened to a message this morning. It was like, I think those who succeed are those who have the guts to fail. Like, do you have the guts to fail?
I failed so many times. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
So many.
It's a good thing.
Hey, Charlie. It's
a good thing.
Hey, Charlie, Mama.
It is well. You know, when we say it is well, it doesn't mean all is well. Like this minute, you've got to fail.
It's true.
Yeah.
Sure. Mama V, you've inspired me this morning.
Like you need inspiration.
Yes, I need it.
Yeah?
Bond trading volumes hit record highs on Ghana fixed income markets. Charlie. You know we're going for some bond, eh?
We have. We have. We will.
We want some 40 something bond too, but you know, some 40-year bond.
You said it was oversubscribed, the Euro bond.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
You're done?
Yeah, I think I'm basically done.
All right, let's get ready and do myjoyonline.com. We'll also touch base with the BBC, some really rather tragic, sad news coming from Kenya. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to you about that. This is a stampede. We talked about the stampede, the crusade.
But this one is a school.
This is a school and very young children. I mean, the bell rang. It was closing time. And the children were supposed to leave. But nobody's sure exactly what happened. But there was a stampede, and 14 children died in the process. These are like children in class 5 and class 4. Really, really sad. Listening to the parents rushing to the morgue to see if that was my child. Other children pointing and telling their parents that this person is dead and that kind of thing. Really, really, really sad. But let's see what we have on myjoyonline.com just before we do the BBC on myjoyonline.com this morning. Pelosi tears up Trump's State of the Union speech. Well, they said it was a very Republican States of the Union address, but what else do you expect? I mean, it's really, really partisan in this parliament. Airbus Kanda, former finance minister, explains how Ghana bought its military aircrafts. In the days after the judgment, we're hearing a lot of angles to this. Parliamentarians also speaking about this subject. We know Seche Mensah is saying that Parliament cannot look into this issue, right? And there are those who say Mr. Martin Amidu is not exactly the right person. Others say, hey, how quickly we asked him to look into this matter. There are other corruption allegations that we have not swiftly referred those to him. So many angles coming out of this Airbus,
which we'll discuss comprehensively.
Exactly. Brought to NDC, others, as UG survey reveals 64.9% Ghanaians want new voters register. Well, one of our guests was actually in this march yesterday. So is it a blow to him and to the other members who don't want to register? This survey, we'll put that question to him. Full document, UG survey, that survey that's making that revelation about the voters register. Full details on myjoyonline.com. Also, NIA official attacks journalists with the multimedia group. Shame on you in this day and age, still attacking journalists. Lesotho First Lady faces charge of murdering rival. Saw the story yesterday. Airbus Kanda Mahama is not government official. One, that's not Tong MP, who just have Blackwell saying that. Former president is not intermediary. One, NDC refuses to sign code of conduct documents on eradication of political vigilantism. Well, one of the members who represented the party, Alexa Grefia, said the ceremony to sign the document was premature. The absence of other stakeholders to append their signatures to the document was also worrying. Missing 400 tricycles allegedly found with pro-NPP militia group. Yep. Charlie Ghana, it is a miracle. You're looking for a miracle? This is one right there. This one is a miracle. Man, for 400 tricycles to get missing, that's a miracle. We've got many more stories on myjoyonline.com. We'll leave you, make time to explore.
Kandahar boys.
But let's do the BBC. Let's do the BBC if we can before we make way for Benedict to join us with some detailed sports. But Wafa is set to dismantle Kotoko today. Okay, let's do this. This issue about Malawi. Which is crucial because they've overturned an election, so it's very peaceful. From the reports that I monitored, it didn't look like a major election had been overturned. Yeah,
and from Kenya we came to Ghana, but how they've been able to transition to maintain that calmness is what is.
Congratulations to the people of Malawi. Stay with us. We've got sports.
They need to continue this.
Your way after sport is midweek Wednesday, which means we'll bring you AM Business. Is brought to us by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Many conversations after that. Stay with us.